and we are, and hey, there you are.
It took me a while to get comfortable with the gray.
It took you. I'll tell you right now, it's coming in rather. He's looking sharp. He's looking dapper. Well, dare I say, wise.
I was thinking distinguished in my head.
That would work. Distinguished. Speaking of wise and distinguished, how the hell are you? Hey, we are in the sack. It is December 30th. It is a free-form freestyle Friday.
Freestyle Friday.
Our year end of the pre-New Year's show. How was your Christmas? Have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas again to you. I
had an amazing Christmas.
I gave him a shout out on the show when I did with Ian. He didn't even watch it.
You didn't communicate to me that you did it.
Ah, Lord. I thought I dropped a nice subtle hint on the text, but whatever. That I think you responded to, actually. I would pay to see you two talk about that, and we did talk about that. That thing that you remember that pass, the lateral, the play that officially replaced the butt fumble as the worst play.
That's got to be one of the worst ways to lose ever.
It is the worst way to lose ever because it could have been avoided. It didn't need to happen. Right there, it's the worst way to lose ever. You didn't even have to do it,
dude. But what's the receiver's name who threw the ball?
Jacoby Myers, who's the guy
But he's getting a little scapegoated there. I don't blame him.
We didn't either, actually.
I blame Ramondre.
Oh, I don't blame Ramondre. We went right to the coaching staff.
Just kneel on it.
I'll tell you why. Why did you call the play?
Right.
You had no timeouts left.
Why did you run the ball?
Why did you run the play? Kneel down and play for. You only had 18. Whatever it was.
There's no way in 3 seconds.
There's no way.
He's running it all the way to the end zone.
None. Not in a draw. He ran a draw. What was the point of that call? Look. I've said this to you. By the way, Happy New Year. I'm saying this to you. That return of the... See, we're flowing. This is the redoubtable one, Tom Izzo. I'm the highly questionable Arjun Miliaccio. IDD, for those of you in the know, I don't disagree. For those of you who we just discovered us at Christmas, Bortone family, love you. They're starting to watch. Anyway, that puts us up to 4 customers. They're slightly guinea.
Garlic eaters?
Yeah, they are.
Hey, they are. So are we.
Oh, you love the spread there.
Yeah?
Oh,
what kind of spread?
Oh, everything. They have an antipasto you and I could swim in. Okay,
I did some cooking this year for Christmas.
Did you really? I imagine you did. By the way, this man on the grill is another one not to be trifled with.
Not just the grill, my friend.
I wasn't done. I was starting with the grill.
But I did. So for our Christmas Eve, because just like you, we do our own Christmas here a couple days before Christmas.
Okay, an early Santa.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do the early Santa. You did it Wednesday.
Yep.
We did it Friday.
Okay.
So Thursday was our Christmas Eve.
Gotcha. All right.
And for me, as a kid, Christmas Eve was always the day.
Me too.
That was the big day.
It was the big day.
Christmas Day was cool.
Yeah.
But everything was done.
So was your dad like mine? He just tapped out early and said, "Just let him behind the curtain." I'm sick of all this. I can't keep doing this pussyfooting around, trying to hide shit every year, and all this. Just no. Locking the closet, the door, putting whatever you got to do to keep the kids out from finding shit.
My dad wasn't like that, but like, as the kids, we didn't give a shit. Like nowadays, the kids would be like, "But how do the presents get here on Christmas Eve if Santa doesn't?" No.
Oh, weird.
When we're kids, we're just like, "Oh, word, we're getting presents on Christmas Eve."
So they told you.
Yeah. Fine. My
parents just gave up. They're like, "All right, fuck it, just do it tonight."
But
they're never gonna go to sleep.
But my Aunt Louise and Aunt Connie, they made the best food on Christmas Eve.
That's wonderful.
Best food. So I did fried eggplant, stuffed chicken cutlets.
Ooh.
So, chicken cutlets with ham and Swiss. Breaded fried.
Stuffed chicken cutlets?
Yeah, stuffed chicken cutlets. Yeah. Well, whenever I say stuffed chicken cutlets, Brian goes, "You mean chicken cordon bleu?" And I'm like, "No, I mean stuffed chicken cutlets."
Brian's not sitting next to you. I understand. I understand exactly why you just said.
Point taken. But the other thing I did was rice lasagna, which is, I love rice lasagna.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
It's just lasagna, but
talk about a dish that gets the job done. That's how I would define that.
That puts you on your ass.
That one gets the job. It's over after that. It's just like,
you're not moving.
That's it. Throw in the towel. It's over.
It's actually almost too much.
It is. No, but it's delicious. The problem is it's delicious. It's like you know when you're eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite thing to eat at Christmas?
We do the 7 C's. We do
the 7 fishes?
The lobsters and all that, yeah.
You guys did 7?
7. All 7.
All right, walk me through the 7.
Well, we did
lobster?
The lobster. We did the steamers. We did the
steamers are what, clams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like fried. Yeah. We did the scallops.
Scallops
with the bacon wrapped around it, which is wonderful.
That's hilarious because you're supposed to do the 7 fishes and not eat meat.
No, but that's.
No, but I don't do that either. We had chicken cutlets.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that's hilarious that you got the fish with the bacon wrapped around. I love it.
So we did the.
That's my style.
We did the shrimp. We did the lobster.
That's 5.
What the hell are the other
Did you do
2?
mussels?
Yeah, that's they always screw. They mix the mussels in with this, and I just think of his one.
You do mussels and pasta?
No, with the scallops. They cooked them together.
Okay, nice.
And so I always get confused by this because I just think of it as one dish.
Was there any octopus or squid, little calamari?
Yeah. Oh, we did calamari, yes.
That's 7. So you did at least 7.
That we start with that and the shrimp. The shrimp and the calamari are always first. So anyway, the bottom line is it was delectable as always, and we cooked the delectable. So we did. That started with my father because we wouldn't go to sleep, and he kept trying to. Are they in? Are they out? Are they in? Fuck it. Fuck. You know what? You're in Christmas Eve, and that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. So we kind of figured it out. But anyway, from there.
But we're still doing the presents Christmas morning here.
We do that up north. We have Christmas morning up north for the kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of their relatives.
I thought you do it here.
No, we do. Well, we do our Christmas morning.
Right,
here,
that's what I'm talking
But then
about.
we do another one up there on actual Christmas morning for the kids.
See, up there on actual Christmas morning, we don't.
Well, we do because that's all the relatives because they're not down here.
Right.
So that's where they put their stuff under trees because it's like 2 different houses they do this.
But do
and they get another 15 presents.
Is it in the morning or it's like that day at those people's houses?
It's in the morning. We were started at John's. We had breakfast at John's in South Boston, dude.
What time?
It was at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when y'all were doing
We ate at 10 a.m. We opened before
Did you sleep there or you slept somewhere
we
else?
slept at her father's house. But anyway, yeah, so they do it. We do 2 Christmas days, the actual one, and we do the pre-one because we're traveling. So anyway, but yeah, I was about to say this man's prowess with a spatula and an apron. I'm just telling you, I don't care what cooking utensil you put in front of him. Gold, as they say.
I usually make something good.
As they say on Seinfeld, gold, Tommy, gold, because that's what it's going to be. Whatever he cooks is going to come out gold. So anyway, we're doing a. Fuck that.
Sorry,
that's all right.
Well, we had to talk a little bit.
We
about
did.
Christmas.
We had to do a little debriefing.
And how are you, just in general?
With what?
You know, emotionally, how are you?
I don't know. It's New Year's. We're getting. I'm approaching 50 faster than I want to.
Okay.
There was a conversation at a table which involved all females, and the topic was the colonoscopy. That was wonderful to hear. I couldn't tell you the riveting material I got out of that.
So you have to get one?
Just hearing, you don't want to hear women talk about
Do you have to get one?
I will. I'm going to get one, yeah. After the New Year's, I'm going to schedule before I'm 50, actually.
I think I should get one sooner.
I got to do it.
My grandfather died of colon cancer.
Yeah, it's a common one if it's not caught early. If it's caught early, a very good chance of getting it. And they can even take some of the polyps out beforehand to help preventative if they're in there, the polyps that aren't.
Oh, jeez.
Well, they do. You're asleep. You didn't feel it. You didn't feel it. Anyway, otherwise, I was listening to that. I'm going, oh, crying out loud. Let me go downstairs and talk sports. And that was wonderful because everybody and their mother. I showed up, by the way. This kid, Patrick. Happy New Year, Patrick. I know you're watching. Who's a great kid. Love him. But he goes, hey, RJ, what do you think of that? Turn around, he's holding a red Bailey Zappi jersey. I almost threw up in my mouth. I'm like, I haven't been here. Why are you trying to ruin Christmas? I haven't been here 5 minutes. Like, why would you show that to me? What makes you...
Did that anger you?
It enraged me.
In what way?
What was going on in my head was redder than the shirt itself.
Okay, why? Where was the anger coming from?
Because there's always that group of fans, the yahoos, as I call them. They're not the real. They don't do their research. They just go with the flow, and whatever looks good on television, it's true, it's right, it's the gospel. They don't do any research. They don't do anything. They don't even realize what the hell's going on. The problem is later on the night the kid admitted what was going on. And then I'm like, well, how can you sit there and blame Mac Jones when you just said what the problem was, Matt Patricia?
So he has a Zappy jersey because he doesn't like Mac.
He loves Zappy. Thinks Mac's a fraud. I said, Mac's a fraud. Mac came out of the SEC, some team, Georgia. You ever heard of him? Pretty good. Wins a national title. You've heard of that trophy, right? The national. You heard of that, right? Yeah. Played in front of 100,000 people every Saturday.
Who did he beat for the title?
I don't know. He beat everybody. I don't know who the fuck he beat.
Was it Alabama?
No, he is Alabama. He played for Alabama.
Oh.
They beat it was either Ohio State or
Clemson?
Clemson. I think it was Clemson, actually. But this dude had threw 42 touchdown passes and just 4 picks and completed
Did he
70.
beat Jared Lawrence?
He beat them. And he literally, and here's the thing, he completed 77% of his passes.
This year?
No, as senior year at Georgia. He was runner-up for the Heisman.
You keep saying Georgia.
Well, no, for Alabama, rather. And they're in the SEC, though, where Georgia now reigns. And we'll get to them in a little bit.
Supreme over everybody.
Well, tomorrow night's going to be interesting. Them and Ohio State. We'll talk about that.
You think Ohio State can beat them?
Nope. I don't think anybody can beat them. The only team that can beat Georgia is Georgia. And we'll break that down in a bit.
Okay, but I mean, could Georgia beat itself tomorrow against Ohio State?
Sure. I'll tell you why. They've been off 35 days.
So is Ohio State.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. Sauce with a goose, Mr. Savick. The odds will be even. That's Mr. Spock. Sorry.
Sauce for the goose?
Sauce with a goose. The odds will be even.
That's what sauce with a goose means?
Yeah, the odds will be even.
All right.
Except for the fact that the game's being played in Georgia.
Weird odds to eat.
But I digress. So
how the hell did we get here?
I don't know. We were talking football. Anyway, we're talking about Bailey Zappi and the
we're
whole.
talking about Christmas.
Well, Christmas first, and then what got my blood boiling was to try and, which it did. So he sits there an hour or two later. We're playing pool in the pool tournament. I lost. Mark won. Mark and Jeff, congratulations. Fuck you. Anyway, I've won that title 10 times. And you don't get to pick your partner. Every year they pull you.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance.
So are you good?
I've won 10 of those championships. They have a plaque on the wall. I have the
over
most.
The last
34 years.
All right, 10 champions out of...
Means one every 3 years I win, regardless of who my partner is.
So
I've won with a girl. I won with a man who couldn't see from...
Girl.
Yeah, I'm the only one. No, it was a woman who's never played... It was Gail. Gail, you remember that, don't you, Gail? She's watching too, I think. Anyway, the bottom line is Gail never could win a game.
No,
never mind the whole tournament.
Gail. I remember Gail.
So Gail gets me as a partner, and everybody starts laughing. Well, you can put your money in now. I turn and say, don't worry, Gail, you and I are going to win this thing. I called my shot. And we won.
Babe fucking Ruth.
It was Larry fucking Joe.
It was Babe
Larry
Ruth.
Joe. Remember that X-Man? Larry came out and said, I'm going to get it right here. I'm going to shoot it right in your fucking face. And X is like, I know, I'm going to be waiting. And then he gets a shot right in his fucking face. And he turns around and
Xavier McDaniel.
Xavier McDaniel, who was a heck of a defender back in the day. And he turns and Larry looks at me and goes, I didn't mean to leave 2 seconds on the clock. Shit. He goes back.
Okay, speaking of Larry Joe.
Yes. Who last month turned 69. Happy belated birthday,
Good
legend.
for him.
Yeah. Anyway.
While in Fredericksburg over the Christmas holiday.
Yes.
Me and my sisters, my wife, and my sister's fiance, and all the kids, we went to a retro arcade in Fredericksburg.
Real? Oh, I saw that one. I saw one picture.
Did you?
Miss Pac-Man, somebody was playing.
Yes.
Who was that? Was that Penny?
It was probably Penny.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I saw that.
But the reason this
It's relevant.
reminded me of it
Yeah.
is because they had NBA Jam Tournament Edition there. And yes, yes, Larry Joe was in there.
They call him Basketball Jesus?
With Robert Parrish.
The Chief?
Yes.
Oh, you know what the Chief is known for?
Smoking? That's why they called him the Chief?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I told you 80% of the NBA smokes marijuana. Well, the Chief is...
I know that.
The
but
Chief is probably the biggest dealer going.
For some reason, when I think about the old guys, I didn't think that. But I know Kareem was a big smoker. Right?
My friend, some of the greatest music ever has been written on marijuana.
I'm trying to think. Who did we play?
While smoking it.
It was the Knicks. It was me and my sister Lauren. We were the Knicks.
Ewing?
It was Ewing. My sister was Ewing, and I was Anthony Mason.
Mason?
Yeah, I didn't want to be him. I wanted to be Oakley, but it just started.
What about Bernard King? He's not on there?
No, he wasn't on there.
What?
No.
If Larry Bird's on there, Bernard King's on there. They played against each other. And one of the greatest playoff series of all time, the 1984 semifinal. Knicks Celtics went 7 games. Bernard and Bird.
Okay, maybe I'm confusing a couple things.
I hope you are.
Here's what I'm confusing. Okay, so that happened. I did go to a retro arcade.
Yeah.
And played NBA Jam.
And
I was John Starks and Anthony Mason. My sister was
Starks
Patrick
a little
Ewing.
more believable.
Okay.
Understandable. He can shoot at least.
No, but I mean that's who was on. That's who was available in the game.
Those three. That's it.
I maybe more, but like it was an old arcade. I didn't know how to switch the shit.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
But then also, my son John, we got him NBA 2K, 2023 for Christmas. And he played all-time Lakers team against all-time Celtics team.
Really?
Like 20 times.
Okay.
And that's where I was seeing all the different players.
Aha.
And he was like, oh, yeah, Jerry West is a god.
He was.
And he'd be like, Kareem is a god.
He was. They were. The Celtics were just god killers.
And then he'd be like, hey, Dad, this guy Johnson's pretty good. Talking about Magic Johnson. It's hilarious.
Dad, why is he so tall and play point guard?
It's funny.
Because he's Magic Johnson's son.
It's just funny hearing him say those names.
That's awesome.
You know?
That would have brought a sparkle to my eye.
And I'm like,
words.
dude, you can't leave Larry Bird wide open for a three.
No.
And he's like, I didn't mean to.
Well, no one, John, to be fair, no one ever meant to. Just he found a way to do it. Anyway, that's Bird for you. But those Lakers and South, those teams in the mid '80s were just talking about battles.
But it's cool because you can do an all-time team. So on the same team, you have Larry Bird, you have McHale, you also have Paul Pierce.
Yeah, Garnett.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Then you
so
can mix and
when
match.
you sub in, the subs off the bench are like fucking new all-stars.
They're awesome.
You know?
No, that's awesome. That's amazing. You can do that with every team.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
So you can do classic teams like a 1987 team.
Yeah.
Or you can do the all-time team.
Oh, that's great.
They have all-star teams.
Did they have Dave Cowens on there? I worked for him. He won league MVP in '73. He won rookie.
You know
of the
who
year.
they had on the Lakers?
Who?
Mikan.
Wow.
And I was like, he was a Laker?
Yes, he was. He was the first when they were the Minneapolis Lakers. Where do you think the name Lakers came from? What's in Minneapolis?
The Great Lakes.
Yes, the land of 10,000 lakes. The Great Lakes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Minneapolis Lakers. George Mikan was the NBA's first. The Mikan drill. You've heard me say this.
No, I know who George Mikan is. But for some reason, I never thought Lakers because it was Minneapolis. It wasn't the purple and gold.
They won 5 titles right out of the gate. They were the first dynasty in the NBA.
Well, it was funny because he subbed in off the bench. Yeah. And John's like, who's Mikan? And I'm like, that's George Mikan. You can't expect John to know. He doesn't know shit about basketball.
I've told him about the Mikan drill. He could. I'm sorry. That's not fair. He's not going to put 2 and 2 together. He's not.
No, he doesn't know.
Yeah. But the first drill I learned was the Mikan drill, and it was a contest they had at a Celtics camp because they got abused by it. Okay, so they turned it into a drill in a competition. I won the award for the most layups made with both hands in a minute.
How many?
I was 41.
Whoa, that's quick.
And I was 11.
That's quick.
Yeah, but what it did for my footwork, oh baby. But anyway, so that's awesome. He has that game.
I know.
We have to play that one night. We have to sneak in and play that.
But it's fun just like watching him play because he's going to kind of learn.
He's going to learn a lot.
He's going to learn how to play basketball through a video game, and then hopefully he goes outside and wants to play.
Well, Anthony's playing now, so we'll see what happens. But anyway,
Anthony's
that's awesome. So back to we went off the rails here as usual. So back to the Patriots. So this kid
into the mouth of madness.
Yes, the bad news up there. Them and their shit sucks. But anyway, so. This kid turns around, and we're all arguing around there. You know, it's just an Italian fest. No one's getting a word in because everybody's yelling at the same time. But they're all yelling the same shit at each other. Shut up! No, you shut up! This is I should have recorded that. Talk about must-see TV. And then I said Matt Patricia, and then everybody goes, yeah, Matt. Everybody agreed. Then all of a sudden, everybody agreed on one side. Yeah, I'm like, and I looked at him like, well, riddle me this, genius. If you just admitted it's Matt Patricia, how can you blame Mac Jones? And he's like, well. Yeah. Go back over there. The only thing you know is Tom Brady. You never tasted defeat, so shut up. You know why you're crying? This is new for you. But everybody else here over the age of 40 had lived this their entire childhood, and now you're finally getting a dose of it, and you don't like it. Well, it's true. He grew up in the Brady era. He never knew losing. He never knew 1 in 15. He doesn't know who Rod Rust is or Lisa Olson or any of this crap or the Phantom Call in '76 with Snabler and Madden and the Raiders that screwed the Pats would have won the Super Bowl that year.
That kind of bothers me that there's sports fans out there that haven't felt hardship.
First of all, you know what? New rule. Tom and I are the 4. We are the new rule. If you haven't grown up with any adversity or you haven't tasted it, you're not a real fan. You're not a real fan. You're what we call in Boston a pink hat. You show up for the 7th inning stretch to listen to Neil Diamond sing Sweet Caroline.
Pink hat.
Pink hat. Women. We're the pink hats.
But come on, women can love sports.
I didn't say they couldn't love sports, but 99% of women don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That's not true.
It is true.
No.
There's 1% out there that they know sports.
Okay.
And you know when you meet her because you look at her like you discovered fire. It's like what?
There was a time in my life when I had that bias against women too.
Oh, what changed it for you, Tom?
It's not true. There's actually more men that don't know what the fuck they're talking about sports-wise.
Do you know why? Because there's more men fucking fans than women, period. Most women don't give a frog's fat ass.
I agree, but my point is that a woman that follows the game knows just as much, if not more, than a man that follows the game, if they follow it in the same way.
I don't agree with that statement.
I do.
I disagree strongly.
Look, if a woman and
And
a
I've
man,
coached some incredibly athletic, sports knowledgeable women.
this isn't about even being athletic. I'm talking about
No, but they're sports fans too.
But I'm
They're
saying
diehards.
if me and a woman care about a sport
At the same level?
at the same level,
Yeah.
she's going to be equivalent to me in terms of knowledge about it.
We'd have to do a scientific experiment on
I
this.
mean, why wouldn't she?
You can like a team as much as somebody else and not watch them as often.
I'm talking about following.
Same thing.
I don't agree.
You can like a team. My wife likes the Patriots as much as I do. She just doesn't follow them.
She doesn't follow them the way you do.
She's a passive fan.
Exactly.
I'm a diehard. You know how you say
why
diehard fan?
No, that's why I'm saying if a woman is a diehard, the same as I am a diehard, she's going to be just.
Well, you
as
just said if she
knowledgeable.
likes the team as much as you do, or follows it as much.
Yeah, that's exactly what that means.
No.
You can't say Becky likes the Patriots as much as you.
She does, but
No,
she's
she
not.
doesn't.
She's not the historian I am.
No, she doesn't obsess over them the way you do.
She's not a diehard.
Exactly. She doesn't follow them the way
all
that
right,
you
so
do.
you give me one example of this.
You've never met a diehard woman?
Yes, I
sports
have.
fan?
Gail, and actually, and my wife's aunt Kathy, who knew pretty knowledgeable. But,
That's my point.
But didn't know what I knew.
Okay, so you
proved it in front of Becky, by the way.
Okay, so look, but to me that doesn't mean that's not because she's a woman. That's because you follow them deeper and harder, and maybe you follow them for longer.
Deeper, harder.
That was a little sexual.
That really was. Sorry.
Shouldn't have been. Sorry. I mean, it was about you following the Patriots.
Well, I didn't say it. You said it. Don't
maybe,
blame me.
Maybe I'm in a frisky mood. I don't know what's going on here. But
Casey,
send him home.
send him home. Anyway, no. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
To be fair, I can't disprove this. So all right.
No,
fine.
I think there was
can't
a
disprove
time.
it.
It's almost like there was a time in my life when I was biased against women. I didn't think women were as funny as men.
Well, that's because you didn't understand their sense of humor.
No, that's because I didn't get to see enough women comedians. They just weren't spotlighted in the same
But their
way.
sense of humor is different than a man's.
No, it's not.
It's not exactly the same.
And every person has a different sense of humor.
Yeah, I know.
There are some women out there.
Well, you
that
and I have the
see
same
on-
sense of humor.
No, we don't.
Really? You don't think so?
No, there are things we find funny, but but
What's something we don't find funny, or that you find funny that I don't? Give me an example. Of
oh,
this.
there's plenty of that.
Give me one.
All right, so I think Timmy Trumpet was badass. You think he's a silly fucking
That's not
funny little man?
No.
You found that funny.
No,
I
I didn't find the song itself funny. What I found
You found
funny.
Timmy Trumpet funny.
The song reminded me of Bugs Bunny, which I associate with comedy, but he's not.
You think Bugs Bunny's funny? I don't.
I do.
You think
Why don't you think Bugs Bunny?
Caddyshack is funny?
Why don't you think
I
Bugs
don't.
Bunny's funny?
That's what I'm saying. There are things that we find funny, that we both find funny, and then there are
Heard that
things
you
where
don't find Bugs Bunny funny.
I mean, it's
deeply
Bugs
offended
Bunny.
by
Like
that.
it's just so old.
Now this is where I get pissed at you.
I know.
That's
what I'm saying. We don't have
the one
same-
problem I have with him, because sometimes I feel like I'm talking to Mary Poppins' brother, but sometimes 'cause he's practically perfect in every way. But this is the one that goes up my ass. This is the one that goes up the ass pipe.
I'm perfect in every way.
Practically perfect in every way.
I'm so beyond
but
imperfect.
No, exactly. And here's why: because freaking, he's born in 1982, anything happened before 1982 is irrelevant.
No.
It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Celebrities that were peaked in it doesn't matter. I don't know.
I'm not saying I'm better than any of those people, but like you want me to be like, yes, George Mikan was the king, and I'm like, I never even fucking saw the guy play.
If he's in an all-time greats game, kind of tells you something.
No doubt.
If he has a drill for the sport he played,
No doubt.
By the way, Michael Jordan doesn't have a drill named after him. Okay, but
I'm
George
not discounting
Mikan
that person, but I have to be honest and be like, look, I never saw him. I never saw anybody he played against. I saw some old busted video of the man.
That doesn't mean you can't respect their
I
accomplishment.
can respect it, but if I go to pick the best, I'm not picking that person.
Because you didn't see them.
I just don't know anything about him, really. Is that bad?
Probably if you're going to try and pick the best at something, you might want to do all your research
But
before
I
you
can
jump.
only. But I just feel like I can only really pick the best of what I've been around.
All right, I will concede that clearly we don't agree with on everything with this, but I would say most of the stuff that I find funny, he finds, and vice versa.
We do find.
I'd say most of it
funny.
Not all of it, clearly.
But I don't think I'd say we have the same sense of humor.
This is offensive. Bud doesn't think Bugs Bunny is funny. What is wrong with you?
What do you
You put a tape of him versus the Gas House Gorillas, and then come back and tell me that's not funny.
You always get mad at me. I don't really like.
You watch Stoned. I think you'll have an entirely different.
Like Blazing Saddles. That's something like my dad loves.
Again, when did that movie come out?
It's old.
1973.
It's old.
Dude, I was crapping in my pants when that thing came out. I couldn't talk.
Right, but in the 80s you were watching it.
Yeah, but it was 13 years before I was born.
Right, but in the 80s you were watching it.
But I found it funny.
By the time I saw that movie, it was late 90s. And I was like...
So the fart scene around the scene around the campfire where they start busting ass off. You didn't see this movie. Because that's the first thing that would come up.
No, I'm telling you, because I
Just
started...
Thunder crack.
I wasn't feeling it. I think I was in one of those phases where it was like racial humor I didn't really get down with. Now I feel like I've softened on that.
The fart scene has nothing to do with that. And
no, I know. Not everything in that movie was racial.
No, not everything was. But I understand why.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Sometimes like when I hear things, if it's not in the right context, and I don't think it's that.
Yeah,
funny,
like you wouldn't find. I will say this right. You wouldn't find Archie Bunker funny, probably.
Right, because he's got that real racist like.
But
there's an episode, and that's part of the gag.
There's an episode with him and George Jefferson toasting
right.
together.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
I know.
And they say the same thing. Actually, the post says, "Here's to us being able to laugh at each other without getting offended," which, by the way, is one of the greatest freaking posts of all time, because that was what that was all about, really, in real life. So, I mean, to me, and that was back in the 70s.
Well, I recognize that there are people of all different races that don't get offended by any of that stuff.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, but I will say there are times now when like racial comedy happens, whether it's Dave Chappelle or I don't know, Tom Segura.
Yeah. And
like sometimes I get uncomfortable by it because I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to should that be funny or is that weird? I know that's kind of whack because it's like, look, you should just whatever you feel do.
Strangely, I'm glad you brought this up. Even though it has nothing to do with sports. But
it does, though.
Well, it does in a way.
That bleeds into sports
a
lot.
It does.
You know?
It does. That's true. You're
especially like when people say things like, oh, these types of people don't get evaluated the same way. You know what I'm saying?
If I could, I'll tell you what being able to laugh at yourself, whenever possible, does for you. One, it humbles you. Because then you kind of look in the mirror and say, you know what? And by the way, it helps you with dealing with others because if you know you're not perfect, you can't expect anybody else to be perfect. It's not fair.
Yeah.
So you learn to tolerate and accept each other. And by the way, that brings compromise, that brings communication. You work together, and everybody lives happily ever after because now we're not just shut off because of one thing we don't like about a person.
Yeah.
All right? So to me, comedy is great is big for that reason because it forces you kind of to do it. Okay? If you decide to watch it, you're going to probably, at some point, that's going to happen. But anyway,
you'll be like, that's true. I fucking do that.
Yeah, it is. Believe me. There is no comic that's ever missed on me as an Italian. They've never missed. Okay, never. As much as they never missed. So I got to give it to them, of course. And the best part about it is
I've had comics miss.
Most of those guys were not. I'm talking about just silly habits that I have.
Yeah.
Not like anything major, but anyway. But I mean, most of those guys were Italians that were making fun of it, which made it even more okay to be. Hey, it's all right to laugh at yourself.
But so I'm not talking about laughing at myself. I'm talking about when like. Sometimes jokes that are like borderline on like somebody could be offended on.
Borderline offensive.
Yeah, it's like it's not as easy to laugh at that stuff. I remember there was a time where I could be like, it's a joke, and then I don't know, it's not the same for me anymore. Sometimes I'll hear it and go.
I've had, believe it or not, I've actually had a few moments like that myself.
Yeah.
With comedy, and what I keep going back to is, at the time that joke was told, that was the way things were. That was the way. That was the thought process.
Yeah. So you're talking about if you're watching something old.
Yeah. So if you're
as
watching
opposed
now,
to somebody saying something
like before, like they used to have, because again, before they understood homosexuality.
Yeah.
That's the big one, right? That would always come up. The jokes would just roll off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and everybody ha, whatever. No one thought anything of it. But then once the science got in, and you started to realize, hey, this is not a choice. They're born like this. And then it's like, so you like, that's not their fault. And it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anyway, because whatever you love is what you love, and who you love, that's your business anyway. It's not for me to judge.
Right.
It's just not. If that other person's okay with it, then I'm out of it. That's all that matters. You two are happy.
Yeah.
No, but that's true.
Yeah.
So now you hear some of those jokes today, and at times I'm catching going, "Oh, that wouldn't fly today," and nor should.
But
and nor should
there's
it.
still comics
But,
that go down those paths.
In some instances, yeah, there's not many of them, but there's a few.
Dude, Chappelle goes pretty hard.
He does. But he goes on the premise that you guys understand I'm a comedian, right? I don't really mean any of this. I'm just joking.
I don't know, though. Chappelle has a different kind of humor where he's really like...
He's like the African-American version of George Carlin. He really is. He's deep. He knows his shit. A lot of his stuff makes sense in real life.
No, it all makes sense in real life.
That's George Carlin.
It's all...
And George Carlin is dead now, but that was George Carlin back then. If you listen to George Carlin, you'd be like, at some point, like, oh
I've
my
listened
God.
to some... I like some of his stuff. It's always very informative.
He knows his shit.
And Chappelle is informative, too.
He is saying he knows his shit.
He'll say this thing and be like, yeah, and... He shows you different things that are real and shows you why it's funny and why it's bullshit sometimes and why it's wrong.
Yeah.
But like he had one special where he kept going hard on trans people, you know?
Yeah, he kept going.
Because he was getting a lot of shit about it.
Yeah.
Things he said. And it was like, I don't know, like probably 10, 15 years ago, I think I would have been laughing at a lot of it. No. And there was some where I was just kind of like, all right, dude, just like move on to a different topic.
Yeah, we get it.
Like, you know.
Yeah, we get it.
No,
that's true.
Sebastian Maniscalco has a new one out. Have you seen it?
No, I have not. It's new.
I've always loved him. I know, but I saw it, so I thought.
Okay.
I've always loved him, and I love when he talks about growing up Italian.
Oh God,
and
his father,
his parents, who, you know, they were immigrants.
Yeah.
But on his newest one, first of all, a lot of the jokes are stale. I heard them on other stuff.
Oh, really?
And it was all about, like, woke. And, like, it was all about how he doesn't like where everything's going.
Okay.
And to me, when somebody does... Like, I get that partially. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But it also gives me a Make America Great Again feel. Like,
yeah,
I wish we could take it back to when you could just... And I know he's not explicitly saying, oh, yeah, I just want to go back to where everything was racist.
Yeah.
I know they want to say it's about things are less sensitive and you don't have to walk on eggshells. But to me, I think progressiveness and, you know, making progress, it's a good thing. Like, why are you going to be up there complaining that you want to go back? Because
not all progress is good. In fact, in some cases, progress actually stunts our growth.
And what
I'm saying what his point is.
Because to me, if that's what you're saying, then to me that's not real progress. I'm talking about real progress.
What I'm talking about is
real progress is never.
You're talking about a comedian who did this or said this. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to explain to you what he's trying. What I think is meant. I didn't see this yet, to be fair, but I'm guessing because one of the things about comedy, like we just talked about this, teaching you to laugh at yourself and not take yourself so seriously, and learn to be okay with the fact that you're not perfect. Yeah. Now, it sounds like he may have been alluding to, well, we're losing that because of all, you can't. I was like, well, how are we supposed to? Yeah. I mean, now it's almost like you're putting people at a standard where you can't make a mistake. Or you can't have you can't have imperfections. You can't even think some of the things you think, even if you don't know what you don't know yet. Right. And that's where he's going with this. If I had to guess, and that's what drives me up a wall. And if you put Donald Trump in front of me right now, I'd kick the living shit out of him, and then I'd kill him. Okay, all right. So
that's not exactly what I'm saying. Like, okay, so Maniscalco has always been great because he tells these stories that are, I don't know if they are, but they sound so real. Yeah. About growing up and like his dad dipping bologna in freaking radiator fluid, you know, to kill a squirrel or whatever the hell they were killing, and he killed a bunch of cats. Yeah. Like, and maybe they weren't real, but they felt real. Sure. In this one, he's like, yeah, my kid goes to school and there's a kid in their class who identifies as a lion, and I'm like, that's a bullshit story.
Well, yeah,
it's not a real story.
It's a joke.
Right, but it's like, but he's telling it like it's real. And
that's just it.
But he's doing it because he doesn't like, he's making fun of people who say like, I'm not a woman, I'm a man.
Were you the one who told me about the hockey player? The transgender hockey player?
No.
Did you hear about this?
No.
Transgender hockey player, they're playing, it's a women's hockey league. Mm-hmm. So he goes toe-to-toe with a girl. Okay.
Who?
This transgender who was a man but is now a girl, now identifies as a female.
Okay.
They're playing in a women's hockey league. This transgender athlete hit this woman and knocked her into next fucking month. She flew about 8 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is why, and I don't care what you identify as. Do whatever work. Do you? Okay. But when it says, you've heard this conversation. Should these people?
That's kind of dangerous.
It's kind of dangerous. Should these athletes be allowed to participate in women's sports? This was a case for why it should not be allowed to happen.
Sure.
Okay, because that poor girl
that
might never be right again. Okay?
It's kind of like weight classes in boxing.
Exactly. But it's not even that. This guy wasn't that much bigger than her. But look, women have strength.
It's a different build.
Men have
different hormones.
our body is built for that kind of shit. Women's are not.
No, but my thing is like. But my thing is.
But yeah, women are playing hockey because you love it. That's great. I have no problem with it. But then you put a transgender athlete out there.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing. Is like. People have such a problem with trans people.
I don't really have a problem with it.
I know. I'm not saying you do. But so many people, their major problem is sports. Like, what? You're going to call yourself a man? Well, you can't just go play women's soccer.
Well,
it's just like, you never cared about that sport in your life. Why? I know there are going to be these one-offs where
hockey?
A tough decision is going to have to be made.
Hockey.
And maybe that person is going to have to say, look,
a man.
We respect you.
You know when this will come to light? When a transgender man plays basketball. That's when it'll click. Okay.
That's when it's happened it's happened in swimming.
Hockey's a niche sport, I get it.
Happened in swimming.
Well, the swimming one was the outrage until this hockey thing happened.
But I just don't think it's happening on a level that that needs to be this major thing.
I think the people that are making these comments are fans, sports fans. So that's on their radar to begin with.
But when has it ever come up in your sports life?
It never did before because there weren't transgender athletes before.
And it still hasn't, and there are transgender athletes.
It's come up twice.
When?
The swimming and the hockey thing.
Not in anything that was touching what you care about in sports.
I love hockey.
What hockey did it happen in?
I don't remember what the level was, but
you don't even know what team it was.
Well, I heard the story secondhand.
Right.
I didn't see it on TV.
Right, but it has.
I didn't ask that question. All I heard was, okay, this is basically a man who hitting a woman. That's how it was portrayed to me.
Biologically, that is what happened.
Okay, then. So this is their gripe. You're going to kill. It's not fair to women.
Sure.
And Whitney Cummings.
That's a separate issue than.
Well, that's what they were talking.
Whether or not
in my experience, that's the complaint. Right. Not. They shouldn't be trans. That's their business. Just they shouldn't play those sports on that because this is what can happen.
Right.
Okay, so that's what that's
never happens. That's my point.
This has been happening for a long time, and it's already happened. What happened?
How many hockey games do you think took place?
I don't
in the past year in this country.
I don't know.
Thousands,
I'm just saying
10,000?
This is the first. Let me ask you a question. You think this is the last time we're going to hear this?
No.
Okay then. So I'm just saying.
I don't think it's that big of an issue.
I don't. I don't care. As long as the woman's okay, which from all I hope she is. But I'm just saying, I just don't want to see somebody get hurt.
No,
for me, it's more of a safety thing than anything else.
You wouldn't have been watching that game. You wouldn't know anything about that game
therefore I can't care about it.
No, yes. Therefore, you cannot care about it.
That's the dumbest thing.
So you're telling me if right now.
You have no business caring about the well-being of another human being because you didn't watch the game she played it.
No, I'm saying you don't care about that person.
I don't know the person.
Exactly. So you don't care about him.
I just said I hope she's okay.
You don't really care, though.
Yes, I do care. Well, she ends up brain damaged from the hit. Oh my God, you're unbelievable.
You're telling me you're losing sleep.
So you're not allowed to have empathy for someone because you don't have a first name based relationship. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying don't have pretend empathy.
I'm not having. This is real empathy.
You really
she got cold clocked. Yes.
Okay. Let me explain this. So. There's probably hockey games happening right now somewhere, right?
Just because you're an insensitive prick.
No, that's not what I'm getting at.
What are you getting at?
I am a very sensitive person.
Well, not in this case.
I'm just not going to say I care about something if I don't.
I do care about it because the person got hurt.
There's some high school hockey game happening right now in Las Vegas or in Hawaii. Okay, and some woman just crushed another woman. You never even hear about it.
You're allowed to have empathy.
You'd never hear about it. You'd never know about it.
Empathy doesn't have guidelines. It doesn't have stipulations. It doesn't have limitations either. You're allowed to feel sorry for someone that you never met.
I just don't think you really do.
Oh, so you think I'm lying?
Yes.
Well, that's where you can take this and spin. Okay? Wait, both of them. Spin twice. Okay? When you feel this one's waiting for you. It's all warmed up. Like, give me a sit and spin on that one. Oh, I think you're lying about caring.
I think people do that all the time. People do that all the time. They act like they care about
something. I'm not saying there are people that do that. I'm saying I'm not.
Okay.
Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm also saying you're allowed to have empathy for a total stranger.
So here's what's happening in my head. Okay? I'm going to explain.
I hope so.
I don't like the fact that I'm sitting here saying you're a liar.
You kind of are.
I know, and that's not right.
No.
So let me explain this. So the reason I got on the whole Maniscalco tip, and we are way outside of sports, but that's okay.
The rails have gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking 2023.
It's a freeform Friday. I mean, a freestyle? Freestyle. I'm sorry.
So
we haven't seen each other in a couple weeks.
Exactly. We haven't talked at all.
We haven't had a
This
talk.
motherfucker doesn't text unless it's a group chat.
Are we going to get into this now?
If it's a group text, he's all over it. If it's a dolo, one-on-one, he'd...
A dolo?
Yeah, dolo. Solo. Sorry, 90s rap reference. Dolo.
Why is that so funny? Oh, I know why. Never mind.
Again, different sense of humor. Different sense of humor.
No, it is funny.
Okay, so like...
You just caught me off guard with that.
When I hear Sebastian Maniscalco talking about...
Who normally is funny.
Yeah.
No,
he is funny.
He's funny.
But when I hear him talking about, I want to take it back to the 60s, the way it was in old Vegas.
Even though you spent an hour bitching about it? Because that's what he's doing. He's bitching about his childhood. Yeah.
But when I hear him say things like that, it makes me think of, and when I hear him say, my daughter's in a class with a child who identifies as a lion, it makes me think about the Republican talking points that they use in the South, and really in all Republican states, to push agendas and push narratives like, hey, people are so woke nowadays, they had to have a kitty litter box in a high school because some child identified as a cat. So they push these fake stories out there.
People don't believe that.
They do.
Well, the dumb ones do.
The ones that vote for these guys.
Yeah, well,
I'm saying they're
either dying or they're shrinking in number because we're starting to see less of them. They're still out there, though.
Nah, dude, like Florida, they got DeSantis.
Yeah, that's true.
They elected him.
There's
Trump got elected 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Look, I'm not. I have said there's a reason why there's a 3% and a 97%. Okay, because most are idiots.
Yeah.
They're just sheep. They're just sheep.
So
they don't think for themselves. They can't think for themselves, and they weren't raised to think for themselves.
So here's what's happening when I get mad at you, and I'm sorry I called you a liar because you're not. But like, I think a lot of those people, right? It's like that fake outrage. What? There's a man that wants to pretend to be a woman and play sports? I shall not have that. No, you will not hurt women's sport. Like, I think there are people that pretend to care about women's sports
just to push their agenda,
so they can hate on somebody that wants to be transgender or who is transgender.
Okay, that I agree with.
And so,
that I agree with.
So when you were saying what you thought, I associate it with that, even though you're saying no. I'm not. I actually do care.
No, I do care
about somebody that could get hurt.
And now let me be honest here. Be clear about something here. When I was younger and didn't know my ass from my elbow, I thought the world revolved around me. Did I probably would have cared? No. When I was 17 or 18, you want to know when it changed for me? When I broke my fucking neck. Because you know what? At some point, everybody has that wake-up moment. By the way, I don't recommend that one. Okay, but the bottom line is, when I was in that hospital bed for 6 weeks, you started doing a lot of soul searching. Okay.
Any soul surfing?
I wish it was surfing. Surfing would have been more fun. But
Did
soul
you see
searching,
that movie?
No, I didn't. Any good?
Oh, great.
Okay, well, that's one I got.
About the girl that gets her arm bit off by a shark?
She's
a surfer?
I read the story.
Soul surfer.
That's what that is about? Oh, I read the actual story. Okay. Great. Oh, I'll definitely check that out. But anyway, when I was in that hospital bed with a broken neck and my whole life was flipped upside down and I was going to be done, never play ball again, all shit, I started looking back on my life and how I got to that point, because that's what you do when something like that happens to you. You reassess, you reevaluate, and you start looking inside, because now you can't lie. You can't lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else.
Did you think you were going to die?
No, but I thought I would never play again. I didn't know if I'd walk again. I never thought I'd get the use of my left arm back. When you're a lefty, that's a problem. The brain damage thing is still up in the air. So, but anyway, you just caught that.
Well, I wasn't sure if I should laugh. That was one of those uncomfortable, like...
That was me trying to make light of a very difficult situation in my life. The most difficult of my life.
No, but your brain must have been damaged a bit.
I would argue it was damaged before that. But anyway, but the ball,
So
all
that
the hits.
happened.
I was 20 years old. 3 weeks from my 21st birthday, and then I read on the news, Travis Roy, hockey player, breaks the same bone. He's paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life. By the way, he's already passed away.
Jeez.
So at that point, the word empathy entered my life because I was like, and by all accounts, Travis Roy was the anti-me. I was a prick. This kid was a saint. Everybody loved him. This was that kid. People like me because I was a great athlete, not because I was a great person. Trust me. No, not even close. In fact, I used what I had to get rid of a lot of shit, which is the worst part about it. See, 6 weeks in the hospital, this shit happens. So anyway, at that point, I came out of the hospital. I made myself a promise. I may not be the same player again. I never was, but I will not be the person I was. And I've spent from that day to right here at this moment, sitting with you, my good man, trying to make myself a better person every single day. And trust me, when I say it's a process, it's a process, okay? Because when you're a prick of the magnitude of myself, okay?
Prick of a man.
One does not simply unprick, okay? Or become, it can take in my case, because you have to throw the stubborn factor.
You got to sand that nub.
You got to sand that. When you're a stubborn, when you're a stubborn prick, which is even worse, okay? It takes longer. So, but over the years, I've come to be very empathetic towards everyone.
You're still a stubborn prick.
Of course I am. You can't just get rid of these things. It takes, I may never get rid of that.
I know he's pitching this to y'all, but I don't know. I haven't seen much of this empathy.
You're seeing an example of it now, and you called me a liar. You just saw it and you called me a liar. You did. And I'm like,
empathy, you goddamn liar.
I just made this whole spiel about how empathy has no this. You just fucking ignored that. I was fucking head.
I was on my deathbed, broken in neck and all.
Just ignore
Whatever,
it.
you stubborn liar.
You stubborn fucking prick. You're still a stubborn prick.
All right, I take it back.
Anyway.
I take it back.
Anyway, and by the way, if I wasn't that way, I guarantee you and I wouldn't be friends. Guarantee.
That's probably true.
Okay, so nor would I have ever be friends with him. Trust me, I was the definition. The bottom line is, I discovered that word and that meaning and what it really meant and what it should
Stubborn
mean.
prick?
No.
Oh, empathy. That was a good one. That was good. Come on, give me that.
I'm laughing. So, but my point is that all humans, we all need to have that towards each other. Because honestly, because you know something, when something bad, God forbid, happens to you or someone you care about, you're going to wish it comes in truckloads, depending on what it is. Yeah. So, and that's the thing about human beings. We have to have this quality. And to your point, I can see why you get mad when he does this. You know, the comedian there, because he should be a little more. I understand that. Again, there's two sides to this story. This is where you have to find that line where we can work together.
And at the same time, I realize that it's comedy.
It's comedy.
And that's why.
So how much of it did he really mean at the end of the day?
Right. And whether he means it or not, it's meant to just make somebody laugh.
Yeah, that's all it is.
You know, so
maybe he's trying to make light of it and say, look, this isn't the end of the world. We have to evolve. We have to get better because God knows the mistakes we make. We can't be this way anymore. We have to be better towards each other.
Can't be this way, man.
No, you can't. Look at what happened 4 or 5 years ago. Look at how divided this country is. They should call it the divided states. And by the way, and I keep saying this, you're not Democrat, you're not Republican, you're fucking American. And until we get back to that shit, every 4 years you're going to hate each other, not want to talk for months, and all the crap. Okay? And then I get criticized for trying to be the peacemaker. Who did you vote for?
I'll always criticize you.
Yeah, but how dare I try to bring people together rather than divide them? How dare you? Who are you? Empathetic? Anyway.
Liar,
lying sack.
All right, where the fuck were we?
We're about to take a break because honestly, we're so far away from sports.
Like a best of.
We will do it. We'll come back. We're going to do a best and worst when we come back.
Maybe more surprising.
But quick synopsis: Matt Patricia, you suck. You and Joe Judge gone. He's a Giants fan. You know, we're going to tap on that in segment 2. Joe Judge was the coach of his team. I want you, New England, you Bill Belichick, to hear firsthand what that ass clown did to his franchise. He was there 3 years?
I mean, he made us
save it. We get back.
Insignificant.
Beyond that, we're gonna get back to that when we come back, and then we're gonna do best and worst of the year. So, hey, it is Friday. Is it New Year's Eve? The eve before New Year's Eve? What time is it?
It's New Year's Eve.
Eve. Okay, so look at everybody's got. I hope you got all parties to go to and family and friends to be with, like we are so fortunate to have this weekend. So grab a frothel if you're not already, and we'll see you very quickly on the side. We're gonna discuss that, and we're gonna do best and worst of the year. I feel you have a few in mind. I have a feeling the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning.
But I haven't put a lot of thought into it.
That's all right. We'll have time. We're going to take a few minutes. We'll be right back.
It's going to be messy.
It's all right.
Raggedy.
We do messy here.
Yes, we do.
We do.